Final test. Intercultural reading.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In this last test, I will present my news article in Japan, and I can be compared to Indonesian culture. My name is Suci Kusuma, and I am from 4th semester and Prodi Bahasa Inggris. My final test for Intercultural Reading 2022. My title article is Cost of Living, the Shock of Rising Pricing in Japan. We can see my share screen, please. As a kid growing up in Japan, it rarely seemed to get more expensive. But when price for basic necessities don't go up, people don't actively spend. Business, in turn, are responding by not raising salaries, further driving down consumer demand and price. Overall, this slowed down economic growth of an entire country, a vicious circle in which Japan has been trapped for decades. Japan's gross domestic product per capita, the country's per capita economic output has remained at the same level since the 1990. For decades, the country's central bank has tried with leaders such as to spur growth, to get Japan's people to spend more, raise wage while prices are rising, moderately explains Nobuko Kobayashi, partner at EY Parthenon. In April, benchmark consumer price rose to 1%, enough that inflation is expected to finally reach the Bank of Japan's 2% target this year, after essentially not rising at all for 3 decades. This was mainly due to higher import costs and higher global commodity and energy price, which were further pushed up by the pandemic and the war in Ukraine. Ms. Kobayashi even warns that this could be the start of bad inflation because wages have not increased yet. In fact, average salaries have barely increased in over 3 decades, so shopper will soon find it painful. Here, how you can see this average annual earning graph. While many post-COVID governments are grappling with rising prices and a higher cost of living, this comes as a major shock to Japan, where people are used to decades of stable price. When the price of Japan's everyday snack umaibo, which costs 10 yen, since it was launched 43 years ago, rose 20%, it sent a shockwave through the nation. In a society that believes in social burden sharing, rising prices have become a cultural taboo. So much so that Yaukin, the company that makes the popular snack, had to launch an advertising campaign to explain why it had to raise the price. According to the Teikyoku database, the price of more than 10,000 groceries will increase by an average of 13% this year. Central bank dilemma, and this is where Japan has a really tricky problem. Central banks isn't the rest of the world have responded to rising prices, the gradually rising interest rate to keep inflation junior under control. The Bank of Japan has kept interest rates at rock bottom for years when there is a significant interest rate differential between Japan and other major economies like the US. The Japan's currency weakened sharply. The yen recently slipped to a 20 years low against the dollar. A weaker yen means import goods, especially oil and gas, cost even more. Consumers are not used to accepting inflation, says Takeshi Minami, Managing Director of Suntory Holding, known for Japan's whiskies Yamazaki, Hibiki, and Hakusu, as well as beer and soft drinks like mineral water and coffee. The company recently announced a price increase for most its product range from October and has taken time to discuss this increase with its retailer. Mr. Minami attribute this to the global supply chains crisis. Yes, that's inflation in Japan. We can compare it with Indonesia. In Indonesia, entering the year 2022 can be quite difficult for some people, especially for people from the lower class or poor. How not this year there have been so many price hikes by the government. From the cigarette tax increase to the recent increase in the price of unsubsidized LPG. Of course, housewives feel the greatest burden from the series of rising prices for kitchen items. In a given period of time, staple foods will go up or down in price. Increase in the price of basic foodstuffs impacts on the community economy. The most common prices increase is usually rice, which it triggers price increases for other staples. Many people complain that they can buy groceries like that before the prices increase. The rise in the price of basic foodstuffs needs the lower middle class, while the middle and upper classes don't really feel because they can still buy it. These price increases will trigger an increase in poverty in Indonesia. This isn't the first time food prices have skyrocketed. However, it seems that the government is not ready to anticipate this phenomenon. So this happens all the time. The trend of rising food and commodity price and global level has been observed since 2021. This phenomenon was brought by the condition of global economic recovery, which led to a rapid increase in aggregate demand and was followed by expansionary fiscal policy and several concerns. This rebound cycle often occurs after a country has experienced a previous recession. However, pressure on commodity and food price increased after the Russian-Ukrainian conflict. This conflict has the potential to hamper the production and logistics side of some commodities such as wheat, corn, soybeans, and other, which in turn leads to supply disruption and shortage in global market. So I think this is my review for my article. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi